I'm not doing this to deceive you. I'm not trying to be dishonest. I'm just telling you the truth based on how I see it. And so do I think he should take the video down? Coach Greg in Food Theory is not only a liar, he's also stealing thumbnails. Well, at least according to Ann Reardon, a popular food channel critic. And in case you haven't heard of Food Theory before, well, that just means you're not watching all my videos because I've already done a video on them. Remember how to beat the buffet? And I explained how to do the opposite of that in order to lose weight? And so he made a video talking about how many people become lactose intolerant and how there's more calcium in kale than there is in milk. And so Ann Reardon posted her video and then the comments started flooding in. Take down this video. You're a liar. Didn't research it. How dare you? And so I wanted to watch the video for myself. Was he in fact lying? And did he in fact steal the thumbnail? I've had my thumbnail stolen before. It's not cool. They literally grab my thumbnail, post the exact same one, copying it word for word. And so the original thumbnail from 2 years ago had a skeleton in it. And he also had a skeleton in his, in a different position, doing different things. So what is it? You can't use a skeleton? That would be like saying, Coach Greg, you copied my video because you have a bodybuilder in it, and I have a bodybuilder in mine. It's not even the same bodybuilder, but because it's a bodybuilder, you stole my thumbnail. And so no, he did not steal the thumbnail just because he chose to use the thumbnail in his. He may not have even seen the previous thumbnail. I mean, think of it. You're going to have some similarities. It's not exactly the same. If it was the same, I'd say, yep, he stole it. Not stealing thumbnails.
I am here specifically to address Ann's concerns to Food Theory, which honestly only account for around 3.5 minutes of her video's total 20-minute runtime.
And so for the most part, Food Theory and Ann Reardon agree on almost everything, including the fact that we need calcium to build strong bones, that kids should drink milk, and so on. However, there was one section where they disagree.
Green vegetables like broccoli and kale, more calcium than milk. If you hate green things, just try eating some beans. You know, those fun little round guys that come in burritos and chili, more calcium than milk.
And so I think it's perfectly healthy to discuss this. Oftentimes, people accuse me of having too much drama because I'm calling out other YouTubers, but yet here we have Food Theory and Ann Reardon going back and forth talking about calcium.
And a lot of that time is actually spent agreeing with us. For example, Ann mentions the nutritional benefit of calcium for growing kids.
And so Food Theory did an amazing job of comparing his video to Ann's, showing the similarities, showing how they agree on most things. And another thing I like about Food Theory is his enthusiasm, his voice, the way he carries on. He's pumped, motivated. I'm inspired as I listen to him talk because I know that he has a passion for food. I also have a passion for food, losing weight, and so on, and so I enjoy watching his videos.
Outside of tracking the history of lactose intolerance, the rest of our video was basically dedicated to the advertising practices of the milk industry.
And so Food Theory, he's not against drinking milk. He's not saying milk is bad, no one should drink milk. He's against the marketing tactics that are used to trick people into thinking you need to consume milk.
The only part that she wound up disagreeing with were 2 sentences right at the very end. 37 words out of a total 2,600 word script.
And so Food Theory, gotta love this, he's into the details. There were only 2 sentences which Ann disagreed with. This totaled 37 words out of 2,600 words in his script. And unlike Coach Greg, they plan these things out, plan exactly what you're gonna do, spend hours creating thumbnails. Coach Greg, I just sit in front of the screen, tell you what I think. I have all this knowledge loose in my brain, and hopefully it comes out at the right time.
Green vegetables like broccoli and kale, more calcium than milk. If you hate green things, just try eating some beans. You know, those fun little round guys that come in burritos and chili, more calcium than milk.
And so in the video, Food Theorist says that broccoli and kale has more calcium than milk. Ann heard this and said, nope, you're tricking and misleading the people, and so I'm calling you out. And so Ann, just like Coach Greg, likes to call people out when they're lying, misleading the viewers. But is he in fact misleading them? Is he lying?
Clipping out the ones that we definitely got right and not acknowledging them makes it seem like our video was irresponsible and full of a bunch of misinformation, when again, none of it was actually the focus of the episode in the first place.
And so is Food Theory's video irresponsible and full of misinformation? No! We're going to go over the debate that she had with food theory, and we're going to show you that it all depends on the scale of comparison being used. And I'm going to be using the scale I choose to use to see which one's right. And so we'll see. Is he full of shit? Is she full of shit? Are we being pedantic? What exactly is going on?
They say in their video that broccoli and kale have more calcium than milk, and they show a picture of cabbage, not kale.
Yikes, yeah, that's a big oof.
And so he has an entire team reviewing his videos, ensuring he's not making mistakes, but every now and then a mistake can slip through the crack. And so he showed the wrong picture, he admits it, that is a big mistake, but that doesn't change the information that's being presented.
To get that 300 milligrams of calcium that you get in 1 glass of milk, you would need to eat 222 grams of kale.
And so Anne says to get the same 300 milligrams from milk versus kale, you need 300 grams of milk versus 225 grams of kale. And you can see the milk is just a small glass. Not very much. The kale, it's a massive portion. And so clearly you need more kale than milk, and so he's a liar, right? Well, no, because technically 225 grams of kale is less than 300 grams of milk. And so therefore, there's more calcium on a gram per gram basis in kale than there is in milk. And so it depends on how you choose to compare it. Are you basing it on volume? If it's based on volume, milk is the clear winner. If it's based on grams, kale is the clear winner. What do I choose to use? Per calorie. And so on a calorie per calorie basis, you get more calcium on an equivalent amount of calories eating kale than you do from milk. So if 2 people on the same calorie intake were consuming kale versus milk, they would be getting more calcium from the kale. And so on 2 of the 3 different scales used, you can see that food theory is correct in that kale has more calcium than milk. But on the other hand, Anne is correct. Going by volume, serving size, clearly milk is the clear winner. How many friggin' kids are gonna have that much kale? None, as in zero. No one is consuming that much kale as a child. And so if you told a child, stop drinking milk, instead just to eat kale, it's higher in calcium, the kid is going to have calcium deficiency. They're not going to get enough calcium from the kale because how many kids are having multiple large portions of kale like that?
Technically, gram for gram, this has slightly more calcium.
Aha!
Isn't technically correct the best kind of correct?
1 serving is not always the same as 1 serving. And that's even true when you're comparing identical food products.
And food theory thinking exactly like me, you can't just compare serving to serving because no 2 servings are exactly alike. A can of pop versus a bottle of pop, the bottle of pop's bigger. They're both 1 serving bigger. And so how can you compare a glass of milk to a bowl of kale? The serving size is arbitrary, and so it's not fair. But you know what isn't arbitrary? The calories. On a calorie per calorie scale, which is better? And so take something as simple as protein. We all know bodybuilders try to take in 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And you've heard the rumors, peanuts, peanut butter is a high in protein. It's a great protein source, especially for those vegans out there. The only problem is, it's not, it's low in protein. And so all you have to really do is say, how much peanut butter would I have to eat in order to get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight? And so seeing as I'm about 195 pounds, I need to consume about 28 servings of peanut butter in order to get the 195 grams of protein that I need. And so doing the math, I would need to consume 5,293 calories worth of peanut butter to get in the necessary 195 grams of protein that I need in my diet to maximally build muscle. In comparison, I only need to consume 1,900 calories of skim milk to get the 195 grams of protein that I need. So clearly, milk has way more protein than peanut butter. If the average American were to eat peanut butter as part of their diet, they're going to have a lower protein total. Peanut butter doesn't increase protein in our diet, it decreases it. Imagine if a famous YouTuber who had a cookbook came up with a protein bar that had 7 grams of protein and 190 calories. I'd probably make a video, call them out saying, you call that a protein bar? It's not a protein bar. It's a non-protein bar. It's a low protein bar.
Which one of us is right? Well, the answer is both of us. We were just using different systems of measurement.
And so food theory, being the nice guy, says, guess what, people? We are both right. We're both right. It depends on the scale being used. I'm not doing this to deceive you. I'm not trying to be dishonest. I'm just telling you the truth based on how I see it. And so do I think he should take the video down? Of course not. Just because he had the wrong picture for kale, put up a picture of cabbage, and said that kale has more calcium than milk? It does, based on a gram per gram portion. And so he's not lying. He shouldn't have to take the video down for 30 plus words that disagreed with Anne out of 2,000 plus. Certainly not trying to be dishonest.
And if all of that wasn't complicated enough already, you have the added layer of bioavailability to consider.
And to make matters worse, or perhaps just more complicated, just because something has more milligrams of a mineral than another food doesn't mean it's going to be better. Vitamins, minerals have different bioavailability based on the foods they come packaged in. And not only that, it's affected by what you're eating that food with. Eat a certain food on its own versus eating with other things, it can have a different bioavailability. Also, are you consuming it with caffeine? Morning, noon, or night? What else are you doing? Are you using recreational drugs? These can all affect the bioavailability of the nutrients you're taking.
Would it have been better for me to compare serving sizes like Anne suggested rather than weight? You know, I don't know. I'm still not sure on that one. But will these sorts of things happen again? Yeah.
And so overall, I think this was an excellent response by Food Theory. Some people saying, oh, it's just drama. This is no good. What can you learn from this? Well, you can in fact learn a lot. How much did you learn about calcium, food serving sizes, comparisons, and so on, simply from watching the drama of this video alone? Hopefully you learned something. Highly recommend you watch Food Theory's channel. Great, amazing videos. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please check out the bloops. Also, don't forget the newsletter. Please click the link in the description to be part of the newsletter. We're giving away 5 free recipes, free shit every single week. Also, we're going to be having a free training program, free nutrition program for everyone for free, as in it doesn't cost you anything just for clicking the link in the description and subscribing to the newsletter. Please do so as soon as possible. Don't forget Harder Than Last Time supplements, including turkesterone, pre-workout, Sequel protein bars, pre-workout, Delta Sleep, liver support. We got G test coming out, G focus, so much G stuff. Can't wait. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Don't forget, I got a freaking cookbook, several of them, training books, coaching plans from me and my team. And until next time, I am out.